just go with the flow of the cards. He could have been found out, and in a way he well should have been with ace-queen, but early days, there's no guarantee you have to put money in, so I think Yanni thought that he must have had a great hand.
And Yanni may just be thinking he wants to get a read on Peter, see a little bit of what he's about before he gets too involved. Yanni, of course, a very experienced and tough player. Big winner in the cash games online. It'll be Yanni first to speak here. He looks like a Hellraiser, doesn't he?
He's not playing like a Hellraiser at the moment, but that doesn't mean to say he isn't, because he's got great experience in the game, and you know full well that he's picking his moment. And even though he may have to sit tight and wait for cards, he didn't feel his moment was with that ace-queen after that first raise of the day.
A walk to Peter DeJalis in the big blind, which means he's won 2 out of 2 pots. Peter was a bit of a wild card in his heat, Steve. He wasn't really fancied. He was short chipped all the way through and then really just came up on the outside rail to take Dave Phinney out. So he's got a bit of an unorthodox game, and he's already showed that.
Yes, and of course it's very hard to judge the standard of players in the world. You know, seat ranking players and that. The game's going through such a transition that really nobody really knows what is the top player, who are the best players. It's probably always been the same, but even more so now. So many people can learn from television, so many people can learn from playing online. It's very hard to start ranking players.
Yeah, and especially in this specialized format, which really seems to take special strategies. I mean, Barry Hearn, a great example of that.
Raise. 6,000 more, 8 total.
Well, certainly aggression seems to be the order of the day. You haven't got a great deal of time to sit back and wait for cards, so you've got to make something happen. And the 2 players in our screen so far have been making that happen. What does Yanni find?
First notice given from Andy Pyra that he's in the game. Raised to 6,000 on the button with the king-8, taking the pot. And the Piranha is swimming. Pyra looks very mild-mannered, but the Piranha, a very apt nickname for him, Steve. He really was fond of the big bluff in his heat.
Well, he should know about percentages. His father was in the bookmaking business for many years. Too sure if he still is, but I used to know Wally Pyra, his father, very well, and one of the big bookmakers. So he must know odds. He must have lived with numbers flying around the household all over the place.
No stranger to gambling, is he? This is Leibovitz under the gun, folding up shop.
Raise.
And Tweedy's found a hand.
14,000 total.
We've seen some big raises before the flop. 14,000 is massive, isn't it?
Yeah, it is a big raise, yes. And obviously the jacks don't want too much action. There's queens, kings and aces on the flop that would frighten you, so that's a bet to try and get no action whatsoever.
Well, he made some players put down some rather quality hands, but Tweedy taking the pot there.
It's tough, isn't it? Because you get a good hand like jacks, right, and you put in a big raise because you don't want any action, but you get 3 chips. You win 3 chips. It's tough in the early stages.
It is. You want action, but only from a hand that that's not going to catch up and pass you.
And they don't exist.
But, Tweedy, this is his first television tournament, but he has had a bit of experience online, been playing a couple of years there. And he really gathered chips early in his heat and then just rode them to victory.
Raise.
Oh, hello.
4,000 more, 6
With
total.
a slow burning statement. Raise.
So it's always nice to find 2 aces, but if he just takes the blinds here, I was going to say he'll feel a bit aggrieved, but Leibovitz giving him action with the king-10 suited, defending.
Yes, defending the blind, and also sucked in by the king-10. He's hit top pair, which is going to be very dangerous for him. He's got to be very careful now.
This is really our first railroad car of the game.
He's got to bet, really, hasn't he? He's hit top pair. He's got to ask the question of Andy Pyra. And the question will be, what does Andy Pyra do?
I'll tell you what, it's a great bet, but only if he can take the hint that Andy's about to give him.
Raise.
Do you think he can take that hint?
20,000 more, 28 total.
Well, he's made the statement that he's got better than top pair.
This is a tough spot for Leibovitz.
He could have flat called there, Pyra, but as we can see so often, slow playing, something like that can go wrong.
And it doesn't look like he's going to lose Gary.
Call.
Ooh, this is serious.
This is a big pot. It's very early in this pot, 69,000. Leibovitz needs the 10 or the king.
Leibovitz is out of position. He's the first one to bet. He's got to make an early decision. He can't really bet now. Does he check? He must be worried.
Check.
Steve, we were talking before about defending your blind, but
Red
this is
check.
really the double-edged sword. Oh, is Pyra checked? Oh, he hasn't. He's going to really put Leibovitz to the test.
How much money does he bet? There's 69,000 in the pot. He wants to keep him in at this moment. At least you think he would think. We know he should.
Is there any way that Andy would consider he's losing at this stage? Did that 6 scare him?
I don't think
Red
so.
checked.
Oh, he checked.
They've both checked. Why did Pyra do that? He's given a free card. If it comes 10 or king, it hasn't. But Leibovitz might start thinking he has the best hand.
Well, it's worked to his favour now. Pyra could win the lot if he's not careful here. This is a damage limitation for Leibovitz. How big's he gone in there?
25,000 raised all in.
Well,
What a play!
oh my goodness.
What
The
a
American's
play.
on the edge here. How much money's he got left? He's so close to putting him in. He's got his hand on his chips. Pyra's done everything right, other than perhaps the check on the turn, which was a bit...
Yeah, but he was slow playing it to trap later. He's
Marvelous.
slow played with only 1 pair. What kind of guts is that?
Pot size 160,000. It's 80,000 chips in there. He hasn't got much left. 20,000. Oh, he's decimated at best.
He is calling, and he's out. He is going to be out of this tournament. Leibovitz first man out, and Andy Pyra has played 2 aces like you've never seen them played before. What a raise on the river, Steve.
Well, we talked about defending the blind. You have to defend it to some degree, but sometimes it can get you into trouble, and that 10 caused so much problem for Leibovitz.
The piranha nibbled on Leibovitz's toe until the river, but he just ate his leg, his torso, and finished up with his ears. Well, aces looked strong on that board. Leibovitz hit the top pair, never improved, and on the river, bam, wham, wallop. All the money went in, and the Rockets have blasted Leibovitz out of this tournament.
Gary, what a pot. It got big so fast.
It did, and I didn't want to get involved that quick, but he definitely played the hand in a way where I just couldn't get a read. I thought he might have had a smaller pocket pair just under the board, and my chip stack, you know, was so low that I had to make the call at that point because odds, you know, pot odds were that I had to. So it was quick, but it was fun. I had a good time.
Let's check out the ranking of hands. Each 5-card poker hand falls into the official ranking of hands. At the bottom of the ladder is high card only. Just above that, 1 pair. Aces are the high pair. 2 pair is higher still. 3 of a kind, the next one up. That's self-explanatory, also called a set. And then a straight is above 3 of a kind. That's 5 cards in a row of any suit. A flush is 5 cards of the same suit in any order. Full house is 3 of a kind plus a pair. 4 of a kind, self-explanatory really. And a straight flush is what you're looking for. That's 5 cards in a row, all of the same suit. Royal flush is top of the pops. That is a straight flush, ace high. Is this going to affect the other style of play now that they have to deal with a man who's got double average chips?
Pass.
Well, it's difficult to know because there's the 3 spots to play down to, only 3. So you effectively could get into the final without actually having made a bet, I would imagine.
6,000
So,
total.
strange situation. You can play conservatively and get through.
Call.
Well, Hellraiser has gotten right off the mark here, raised to 6,000 with the Queen 8, and he's found a caller in Tweedy, who's slightly better and suited as well.
The call was on the button, defending the big blind.
Oh my, that's a big
Was
flop.
something for everybody, actually.
Really is. Flush draw for Yanni, open-ended straight for Tweedy, and an
12,000.
inside straight draw as well for Sointula.
It's a better